Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. Today's video is about planting a tomato plant. How to do it, simplified. This is for new gardeners. And over the years, I feel like we've overcomplicated gardening a little bit. I've contributed to that in some way. You can add in all kinds of different things. That's cool. It helps the plants. But you can plant with minimal resources, save money, get the plants in the ground. And that's how I want to show people to plant this year. This framed bed right here, 2 feet wide, about 6 feet long, we're going to put in 3 tomato plants. Indeterminate variety, that means you're going to grow 6, 7, 8 feet, they continue to grow. The clothes rack back there is for beans. If you want to subscribe and follow, I'll show you how I plant that up. You're going to need some sort of stake. I like using 8-foot metal T-posts. They're a little expensive, about $8 a post. However, they're going to last you forever. If you don't use that, you're going to need something for the plants to trellis up. You can see they stay permanently in here. 1, 2, 3. Perfect spacing for 3 indeterminate type tomatoes. I'm going to be planting the Old German, a Gladiator hybrid. Hybrids, just so you know, they're not bad. They're not GMOs or anything like that. They're just cross-pollinated by people. And I also have a Homestead, one of my favorite. I want to talk quickly about the materials that you're going to need. Of course, you'll need soil and a space. Any organic granular fertilizer that has N, P, and K represented is all that you need. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Get something that's on sale. Most of them are the same. You don't need anything fancy. That is a dry granular fertilizer. You can see it in there. I'll be putting it down. Slow release means it has to break down over time. It'll feed your plant over the weeks and months for the summer. You're going to need a water-soluble fertilizer. I recommend AgroThrive. I'm affiliated with them. You can find that information in a video description. And that is something that you mix with water, pour on the plants. They immediately get N, P, and K that they can use. Or you can use fish emulsion, any water-soluble fertilizer. So all you need minimum: organic granular fertilizer, slow release, and a water-soluble fertilizer. Building up your soil is something that you do slowly over the years. This bed is 4 years old. The soil is pretty good. Looks good. I've been taking care of it. How I manage this? I put leaves, grass clippings down here over the years. I just let it break down. Worms grab it, microbiology breaks it down, incorporates it into the soil. The soil is great. You can even see tomatoes from last year. Tomatoes that fell, the seeds are starting to germinate. That tells me it's a great time to start growing tomatoes. The soil is fine. I don't have to overdo this. We'll talk a little bit about compost and other amendments, but again, I don't want you to feel like you have to buy everything and have perfect soil. We're just going to come to this bed that I've been taking care of by basically layering in grass and leaves, plant up the tomato. What I'm trying to do is just give you the basic principles to start planting tomato plants. Now, I will link in the video description a video that shows you my original soil. It's a red clay, and it's going to teach you how to set up a planting hole similar to this if you're just starting for the first time, where you have a lot of red clay and you just concentrate resources into the hole, set it up, get planting. And you could do that right here. You know, you just set up 3 planting holes. Once your garden is established for a year or 2, the soil is going to look better. It's going to look better in 3 or 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. Notice that I'm not turning all the soil. You don't need to do that. I've just cleared out a planting hole about the depth of the shovel, loosened the bottom to about 1 inch or so. Last year, when I had tomato plants, I just cut the root here, or cut the plant right here, left the roots in the ground, did the same thing right down there. I am just digging a basic hole like this, going to get my tomato plants in. I'll show you how I plant them. Any organic granular fertilizer. As I've been saying, it gets confusing because you'll see fertilizer like this that'll say for fruit trees, for strawberries, for peppers, for leafy greens, for salad, for a salad garden, for an herb garden, for a tomato garden. It doesn't matter. Anything that has nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, you're going to put in there. And it's about a handful, I don't know, 2 tablespoons. You're just sprinkling it around. You don't want to plant right on that, so you're going to just mix in the bottom nicely, couple inches. That's perfect. Mix in the granular. So we'll take out a little bit there. That is a planting hole that is perfect. If you had compost. If you're making your own compost, which I recommend you start a compost pen as soon as you can, shovel full of compost thrown in there, loosen it all up, dig the hole again, drop the plant in, beautiful. But this is going to work just as well. So I'm going to start with the old German, one of my favorites. I grow this every year. A tomato plant is a vine, so if it actually fell over and sprawled on the ground, it would root out along here. We're going to remove some of the bottom leaves. We're going to plant it to, let's remove this one too. We're going to plant it to about this depth. So the main root ball, this is what's going to go down into the earth. And again, like when you're doing a garden, you don't have to fix the soil down, 2 feet deep, 3 feet deep. The roots know what to do. They're going to dig through the earth, deep in the soil. They're going to send out lots of surface roots. That's what we're setting up mostly, the top 6 or 8 inches of soil, so that they have plenty of N, P, and K. Something like this. Loosen the ball. Maybe we have to drop that a little bit. And that's all you do. Crumble in your soil around it. It's fine if it has some of last year's mulch. We're going to water this in at the end with the water-soluble fertilizer. This guy is set up. That's all you have to do. Now, what I might do, if you want, about another tablespoon or so, sprinkle it around. The tomato plant will send out surface roots. This is all going to break down over the weeks and months. Put the mulch back down. Mulch is your best friend when it comes to your vegetable garden. Conserves water, gives organic matter to the soil life. It's a win-win situation. Use grass clippings. Just make sure you don't spray anything on your lawn. Leaves, this is even some straw or hay that I have in there. This is set up, except for the watering in with the water soluble. Let me set up the other plants the same exact way. The most important thing you can do is really just get started. Read a little bit, check out some videos, but get growing. That's how you're going to learn. Again, this space is 2 feet wide, 6 feet long, just a framed bed, basically leaves, hay, grass, etc. thrown in here over time, and the soil's turning into some really good stuff. That's my compost. If I said just fill your garden with compost and start growing, what kind of channel would that be? Not everybody has access to compost. If you did, and that's why I recommend start making it as soon as you can, I have plenty of videos on that, you would just scatter some compost around. You could throw it into the planting hole like I said, or just break it up. This is some of my old clay. That's probably 4 years ago when I threw it into the compost pen. Really good stuff. Just scattered it around. It'll work its way down. Maybe you don't have that, like I just showed you a little bit earlier in the video. You could take your organic granular and you could just scatter it around a little bit. That's going to work fine. You could do both if you want to, but combination of those two works really well. If you're on a budget, maybe you can't afford the organic granular and the water soluble, and maybe plants are a little bit expensive, so you have to figure out how do you kind of work within your budget. You could get a $2 pack of seeds, just like I set these up. Instead of putting in a plant, loosen the soil, throw in organic granular, fill the hole back up. Let's say this is the hole. You would clear out the mulch, and you're just going to press in about 1/4 inch deep. I would put in 3 seeds. You're going to thin to the strongest one. You saw earlier in the video, all the tomatoes are popping up. These are going to sprout really in 5 to 7 days. Cover them over. Do not put mulch over them. Just leave them like that. Water them in well. Water every couple of days if it's not raining. That's all you need to really get started. There's going to be so many tomatoes that come out of these 3 plants. You can be successful. I just encourage you to get started and follow me. I'll show you how I take care of these plants, how we prune them, how we time up the posts, how we continue to feed them over time. Now, I just want to finish up with feed them over time. We really set these up nicely. We don't have to come out here every week or 2 weeks and keep feeding these plants. Just let them go. Mid-season, we'll give them a little more fertilizer. If they look a little weak, maybe we'll give them some water-soluble fertilizer early on. This is water-soluble fertilizer. When you mix it with water, just follow the instructions. 2 gallons in here. Whatever water-soluble you buy, it'll tell you how to mix it into water. It can go on the leaves, but you just want to soak the whole area in at the base. I'm going to do it for the whole time, something like that. That's going to give the plant plenty of nitrogen that it can use right away. Let's do the third one. So with the combination of the mulch, the grass, etc. breaking down, the organic granular, the water soluble, compost if you have it, there is plenty of food in here. The next thing you would want to do is just cover the surface. You're going to have these plants put out so many surface roots that it's going to fill up this whole space, and they will appreciate that nitrogen when the roots get there. We used maybe 1 gallon, maybe 8 tablespoons full of the organic granular in and around the hole, and then a handful across the top. These plants are good to go. I hope you get started. Hope this gives you some confidence. We don't have to overthink it. Just get your plants into the ground. I'll teach you how to take care of them if you want to subscribe. And again, thanks so much for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. And tomatoes can be set up and planted just like this. And if you don't want to buy transplants, you can just direct seed them. The plants that you put in now will pretty much catch up to these when the temperatures are right. And maybe real quick, you want to plant your tomatoes when the nights are staying in the upper 50s, the days are getting into the 70s. They like the warm weather. All right, thanks for watching, and please give planting tomatoes a try.